Governor of college football hat on, check. Got a little CFB Nation t-shirt on, check. Welcome to another marvelous episode, man. We done made it to Thursday. Thursdays I get sad because it's typically which means the final episode of the week. Shout out to everybody who's been showing so much love to this show. Like I always say, it does not go without notice. On today's docket, we're talking about a lot of great topics today. Our Into the News segment. I don't know if you guys seen the recent news that the college football playoff, the new format, has been approved. Not as far as teams. It's still going to be 12 teams, but it's straight seeding for the playoffs. Because if we looked at last year's playoff, it was really a disadvantage to a team like Oregon and an advantage to a team like Penn State. So we're going to straight seeding. We'll talk about that. For our governor's ruling segment, we're going to get into a conversation that, like, I'm telling you, this week we've been dropping gems all week. We've been talking about reform all week, not saying that we need reform, but giving physical evidence or giving a structured way to kind of bring reform. We've been giving you guys that all week, and today we're going to talk about high school recruiting via the portal. And we're going to get into some teams and some different examples of teams and their approach as it pertains to recruiting. So we're going to talk about that. And lastly, for our Around the Nation, and let me know in the comment section. That's just going to let me know if y'all really watching. Let me know in the comment section. As y'all seen this week on Around the Nation, we did team by team breakdown. So Monday we talked about Texas and their outlook. Then we looked at their schedule. We looked at the roster construction. On Tuesday, which is our most watched episode, we talked about Colorado. We looked at their roster construction. We looked at their outlook. And we looked at their schedule. On yesterday, we did Florida. I really liked the Florida one. I was watching the playback because I always watch playbacks, and I'm very critical of myself, seeing what areas I could tidy up in. But I really loved how thorough I was with that one. And today we got Penn State. So we're going to talk a lot about Penn State football. We're going to really break it down, look at the position groups, look at our overall thoughts from last season. Shout out to my boy Dino, who just subscribed to the channel. So I'm really excited for what we bring out. And then there's a rumor out there. I don't know if it's true. I guess I gotta stay tuned. That we always go live 4 days a week. There's a rumor out there that I'm doing a surprise episode tomorrow. It's a rumor out there, and it's also a rumor out there that might be happening at 9 a.m. I don't know if that's true, but they're saying it might be a 9 a.m. episode. I guess I just gotta stay tuned if that's true. Governor of college football, hashtag go CFB. CFB Nation, your only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of college football. We're gonna recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ on the
minds. They have to be better on that side of into the news. It's Thursday. It's 5:22. Hopefully I don't get no phone calls within the next hour. If you're watching this show and you know me, you need to get in contact with me. My phone is completely dead. So but yeah, let's get into the news. Like I told you guys in the opening, we're going to talk about some interesting storylines. So into the news. First bit of news is, kind of what I caught earlier. Shout out to my boy Jalen, because he was like, yo, you seen it? We're doing straight seeding for the college football playoff. And I'm a huge fan of this. I know when a lot of us looked at last year college football playoff, and if we looked at it from an analytical perspective, we said, hey, all righty. Now, we love this college football playoff. I wasn't a fan of going from 4-team playoff to a 12-team playoff. I thought 8 was the sweet spot, but I must say, because I want the preservation of the regular season. Regular season needs to matter, and it needs to matter 100%. I want the regular season to always matter. I don't want what they have in the NFL. If you look at the AFC South, not recently, but in the past, 8 games will get you to the playoff. I don't want that. I want in our sport, college football, that you need to be damn near perfect if you want to make the playoff. We're looking at, 1 and 2 loss teams and some like none loss teams like Oregon. But if we looked at last year's playoff and we looked at it from an analytical perspective, we can say, hey, Oregon was given a raw deal. So not only did they go undefeated in the Big Ten regular season during their inaugural season in the Big Ten, after they left the Pac-12, they went undefeated. They also did you one better by winning the conference championship, and you rewarded them by giving them a bye. Hooray. They got a bye. But guess what else you did? Hello, Ohio State, who's fuming after Michigan loss, put hands and feet on Tennessee, and then they had to face that Ohio State team and ultimately ended up losing. They did. That's what happened. They lost. So I like the straight seeding aspect of it. I think we'll get better brackets. I think with the straight seeding, we won't see what we saw last year. With the top 4 teams should be those teams who get the bye. It should be those top 4 teams, and hopefully it's a lot fair. Now we look at Penn State last year. I was disappointed in Penn State. We're gonna talk about Penn State a great deal later on. Me personally, I was disappointed in Penn State outcome. A lot of people probably love what Penn State did last year, yo. They competed in the conference. They was in the conference championship. They was in the shootout with Oregon. Ultimately, they ended up losing the game, but boom, they able to beat SMU week 1 of the college football playoff, round 2 of the college football playoff. They beat Boise State, and I'm like, okay, my prediction's about to come true. They're gonna handle business versus Notre Dame, and then it'll be we'll see after that. Ultimately, that did not happen, but they had an easier side of the bracket. So I'm hoping with this straight seeding, which is kind of an NFL or NBA format, we get those matchups of those teams who did great in the regular season, and I'm all about the preservation of the regular season. Those teams are the teams that should be rewarded because they handle business in a regular season. If you didn't handle business by winning your regular season, by winning your conference championship, then you shouldn't be rewarded with what Penn State was rewarded with last year. In other news, Chase Young recognized among top 25 college football players for the last 25 years. I've always been a big fan of Chase Young. I lived in the metropolitan area. For people who don't know, they call that the DMV as well. Growing up, we call it metropolitan area, and then the DMV has become this very political thing. That's why I don't like saying the DMV, because if you ask people, they say DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you're in all of Virginia or all of Maryland or, all the DC is considered, it's just the DMV is truly just anybody that can access Metro. If you can't access Metro, you're not in the DMV. I'm sorry. Just is what it is. So I like to say the greater metropolitan area. But so when Chase Young, who's from the metropolitan area, was drafted by the Commanders, I'm like, damn, this is like storybook type ish. You know what I mean? Ultimately, he didn't end up being there, but yes, should he be recognized as one of the top 25 college football players of the last 25 years? Absolutely. So Paul Feinbaum, every time, I watch everybody, and I always say that you'll be surprised at the college football shows that I watch everybody. Every time I need a little bit of messiness with my college football, I watch Paul Feinbaum because the show is effing hilarious. I love hearing regular people call in and talk their ish about college football. A lot of these people are very knowledgeable, but some of them are petty. And I mean petty. They're petty as hell. So Paul Feinbaum, he warns of an existential threat to college football playoff. He has concerns about the future of college football playoffs, citing issues like NIL, transfer portal, and playoff expansion as potential threats to the sport's traditional structure and appeal. I think it's fantastic that, a lot of us are in agreement that, hey, we need reform. But let's start putting together action plans and actual things that's going to get to reform. We can all sit here and identify a million problems with the sport in the off season. During the regular season, you'll find a hard time identifying because the sport is just that great. It's that magnetic. Those are the 15 best weeks of my year every year is during college football season. I promise you it is. I can't wait. Like the fact that we're getting close to media days, I'm excited about that. But, we got to start putting plans into place. We got to start hearing people out. And maybe there aren't the voices of the sport, but there are people who have really good ideas as it pertains to the sport. The reform list that D-Now and Nino came up with, more people should know about them. They really should. They came up with really great ideas on how to steer this thing in the right direction. I think we all know that we have problems, especially in the off season, but let's start bringing our ideas together, start formulating think tanks of how to really stir this thing in the right direction. That's truly important to me. So Clemson making a late push for number 1 linebacker Tyler Atkinson. Clemson is making significant strides in recruiting 5-star linebacker Tyler Atkinson, scheduling an official visit after a strong impression. Atkinson is considered one of the top defensive prospects of the 2026 class. This is what Dabo does. This is 100% what Dabo does. And we truly know, if we're being honest, we know that, Dabo, when we talk about this high school via the transfer portal, Dabo will be one of those names that we mention a lot because he does it his way. He 100% does it his way. People get upset that the man do it his way. Stop getting upset that he does it his way. Please do. Because you should. Because he's going to continue to do it his way as I fix my camera. Alrighty. So in other news, Florida State, Mike Norvell supports NIL salary cap enforcement. Great job, Mike Norvell. This is what we need. We do need salary cap enforcement. I wonder what the structure of the salary cap should be. Well, I think if you watch episode 23 of Governor of College Football, and I talked about it in episode 24 as well. If you watch those, I'm not sure if I haven't put 24. No, 23 is on Spotify. So if you want to see the VOD, it's on Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's on YouTube. But the main place to go watch the VODs are on Spotify. And it's video podcast as well. It's not a lot of video college football podcasts on Spotify. Oh, by the way, but we're on there as a video podcast. So yeah, if you want to see that, that's the preferred place to go see it. So we talked about NIL, we talked about cap enforcement. Yeah, they need to be capped. This is the Wild Wild West, but the NC2A want to respect the amateurism, so they don't care. It's the Wild Wild West. But if you guys want to see a really good structure of how we can structure the NIL salary cap, I did that. Episode 23. It's on Spotify now. So, Caleb Downs, in other news, embraces his versatile role under Ohio State's Matt Patricia. If it's one thing that scared me heading into the season for Ohio State, y'all already know how I feel about the quarterback battle. And I was talking to my boy, my co-pilot, Jalen Wilson, man. He's one of he makes some of the best college football content. And that you probably have seen a few of his videos and don't realize it's him. He makes some of the best college football content there is. And him and Scott Fisher, shout out to Scott Fisher, they're collabing on a video very soon. But he's like, Ohio State don't have a quarterback battle. It's definitely Julian Sayin. I'm just saying that if it's Julian Sayin, then why didn't Ryan Day say it's Julian Sayin? That's all I want to say, Jalen. That's all I'm trying to say. So that's my Ohio State piece. But on a more serious note, Jim knows the disrespect was real. Like, there wasn't even a contract on the table, bro. We can't pay you for all that you've done for us and helping us win the national championship, and yet we don't got a contract on the table. But that team at Happy Valley said, we got $3.1 million for you. Yes. So Matt Patricia, I like Matt Patricia a lot, but I say this with all NFL coaches. When they come down to this ranks, I feel like there are a few anomalies like Chip Kelly. There is an adjustment to the game. You can know football all you want. There's still an adjustment to the game. There really is. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see what this new role looks like for Caleb Downs. I hope it gives him the potential to be, amongst those people that are there the second week in December for the Heisman. I really believe in this kid's talent. I think he's the best defensive player in all of college football. You may disagree with me, but I really like Caleb Downs' game. That's just how high I am on the kid. I'm just being honest. Huge fan of Caleb Downs. I really am. So those are into the news stories and segments. So if you missed anything, as the governor, I try to make sure you guys know what's going on and what people are talking about. Any of these stories you can find on various websites. The website I like to use is dcfbnation.com. So make sure you guys check that out. We covered every FBS team last year. We covered some FCS games as well. But every team, every game was covered on our website. And enough people don't know about it. It's TheCFBNation.com. So we're going to get into our next segment, which is our governor ruling segment. I enjoy these governor ruling segments. Shout out to everybody who's watching. We got a lot of people in here early, and we are streaming on my YouTube. That's at the Governor of College Football. If you go on YouTube, we're streaming on the CFB Nation's Twitter, and we're also streaming on my personal Twitter. It doesn't go unnoticed. I truly appreciate everybody in here. I promise you, I do appreciate it. And we love talking college football. But there's a rumor for everybody who's in here right now that I might be going live tomorrow. And it might happen at 9 a.m. It's a surprise. I'm only supposed to go live Monday through Thursday. But I might get y'all +1. It's just a rumor. Y'all just got to wait till 9 to see if it's true. If not, my bad. It is what it is. All righty, let's get into this governor ruling segment. We're going to talk about the high school Vita portal. So, in the comment section, y'all know I love doing exercises. We're going to do an exercise. In the comment section, if you are building a college football team right now, and I'm not talking about specific players, but what percentage of your team would you like to recruit out of high school and develop? What percentage of your players would you like to get from the portal? I think we need real numbers. I would love to see real numbers in this. I don't have the YouTube pulled up. For some reason, the way I got Restream set up, I don't see my comments. So if you be commenting on YouTube, I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just not seeing them. Just being honest with you. And I don't want to pull it up because I don't want the audio coming through my thing. So I'm not going to pull it up. But what percentage of your team? For me, I'm not right where Dabo Swinney is, but I'm closer to Dabo Swinney than I am to Coach Prime. I'm a lot closer to Dabo Swinney than I am to Coach Prime. As it pertains to the overall construction of my roster, I would prefer to build via high school, develop these players, continue to recruit these players, continue to believe in these players. What Clemson does exceedingly well. You don't hear a lot of their players get into trouble because of the La Familia that Dabo Swinney has built. You know, you look at them and then you look at the team in Athens, you see their players get in trouble from time to time. It is what it is. But what Dabo's been able to build is true family. A lot of his players graduate. That's something Dabo has also been able to do. And that's why, you know, Clemson has the highest graduation rate in all of the FBS. Because his players come there, they formulate a true bond. He wants them to be great at football, but even greater outside of the sport. That's the type of team that he's been able to build. Also, look at it. They have the highest return in production in the country. That's because he's built these teams. He's developed these players. He's built a true pipeline. And this how it was done back in the day. But a lot of us say, well, if he wants to make the next step, we're not saying that he can't coach. We know he can coach. We know that for certain. The guy don't got 2 natties for a reason. He can certainly coach. We're not saying that. We're just saying that, get with the program. Like, you know, the transfer portal was like free agency. Why don't you grab you a couple players? Now, you got one of the best constructed rosters in the sport. You don't really need to go in the transfer portal now. But that was a couple years ago. They couldn't use a kid like Keon Coleman when he was in East Lansing, when Florida State went and grabbed him and also grabbed the ACC title as well among it. And Keon Coleman left them in Clemson, and they left and headed back to Tallahassee with a W. They could have helped. So my philosophy is I'm somewhere around 90-10 or 92-8. That's where I'm at. Let me know your percentage in the comment section. I'm somewhere around 90 out of high school, 10% out of the portal. And the portal pieces that I'm getting should be and Penn State is somewhere around there too. I truly believe that. At least this season, I believe that they are somewhere around 90%. Let's develop these guys out of high school, maybe 88, 85%. Let's develop these guys, and then we'll go get specific needs like they did, and we'll talk about Penn State in a great deal in a portal. I believe that it needs to be way more from high school. I don't believe that year in and year out, you can continue to go to the portal and grab a bunch of players, and that's a bulk of your team. Now, there's anomalies to everything. I feel like what Jeff Brom has been able to do with the quarterback position in Louisville, he's been able to consistently get guys out of the portal, seasoned guys, teach them the way that Louisville does things. These guys a lot of times end up having the best year of their career with Jeff Brom. There's anomalies for everything. What Colorado was able to do last year. With, we saw the mass exodus back in 2023 when Deion first got there. And he said, hey, we bring our luggage is Louis. That's what we bring it, so that you knew it was going to be a mass exodus. So what you see a lot of times is him getting guys who are ready, though. They're ready to perform. So that's kind of what you get in high school. There's some development. You're not going to get an automatic return on your investment. In a portal, you're hoping that, okay, this guy knows what he wants. When he hits the portal, it's not clout driven like, oh, these are my top 8 schools, my top 10 schools. These are the schools so I got offers from. That's what you're getting a lot of times with recruits. With a lot of these portal players, they're adults. Some of them are goddamn, seniors, or some of them are, graduate transfers. What you're getting with them is like, hey, these are the top 3 things on my list. I want a school that's going to help me propel my game to the NFL. I want to be able to put up some stats this year, and I want a chance to compete for the championship. You know exactly what you're getting in a lot of these guys. So you want that immediate return on your investment. Well, sometimes you do get a Jeremiah, Smith. Sometimes you do get a Cam Coleman. Sometimes you do get a Ryan Williams. Sometimes you do get these guys it's like you don't even got to develop them, and you get an immediate return on your investment. But a lot of times you do have to develop these guys to get that true return, and I think some coaches don't want to deal with it. But what I tend to see from teams who are portal heavy driven, and Colorado is one of those teams I just automatically think of, there seems to be a lack of physicality, and maybe because they didn't grow up in the pipeline, or maybe they don't understand the system as well as they should. And you think about the game versus Kansas last year where Devin Neal looked like the best running back in the country. I think you need to develop these players. So what side of the fence I'm on when it comes to high school v. the portal? I'm 100% on the high school side. I am. Some people, think, hey, you need a healthy balance of both. There's probably some people out there that thinks, hey, if I'm building a roster right now, like let's say you're a year one coach, right? You're a year one coach. a lot of these players on the team ain't your players. You're going to end up having a lot of players leaving. Some may stay because they talk to you and say, hey, well, I think I'll give this guy a chance. But some will just leave automatically. And you be like, yo, how can I build this team to compete in year one? So if you're in year one, that year one looks different than years, 3, 4, and 5. And even year two, so to speak. So I do have to cut Deion some slack in that perspective because it is a little bit different because you got guys, you're there for a reason, right? Because whoever was the previous coach either took a job that's an improved job or they were fired because the standards weren't being met. So I get that 100%. So I think it's always important that whenever I'm arguing anything, I think it's important that the opposition is spoken for as well. So if you're in year one, how would you build a team, right? In year one, let's talk about it. In year one, the way I will build a team, and so I can win now, get immediate return on my investments, and so I can win later. So I'm going to look at the current construction of the roster and figure out, alrighty, which one of you bastards can be developed? That's the way I'm looking at it. Like, who could be developed? Who can I get? You know what? This kid was playing a Z-Ride receiver in our system. He'll probably be a great X or great H receiver. Just depending on the scheme you run. I'm an air raid guy, so depending on the scheme you run. So you look at these players, you look at who's driven, you look at who won it. Boom, that's your alrighty. We're trying to build for the future and we'll win now because you want to win now and win later. But then of course we're going to look at the portal and get pieces out of the portal. But a bulk of your team can't come from the portal. It just can't. It's not the way it works because if you look at the average player in the portal is what, a junior maybe, if we're being honest, right? They're older players, so. Let's say they're a junior, they come here, they kill it. You think they're gonna come back to your school for another year? They going, man, it's time to get this money on. It's time to go to the NFL. So that's why I say if you get in a portal piece, you need to do it how Penn State got it. They got the kid Hudson from USC. Boom, let's make that happen. They went and got Trevor Pena from Syracuse. Boom, let's make that happen. When you looked at the Penn State's roster construction last year, it was like wide receiver was one of the biggest holes that you saw. So, in this Portal V high school segment, we got to look at everything. We got to look at the overarching things. We just can't be subjective. We can't. We got to look at the whole thing. So we know year one, Colorado bringing like 50 players. It was crazy. What Texas Tech was able to do in the portal. See, that I think Texas Tech is one of those teams where, yes, they're able to recruit out of high school, but they had an immaculate portal class this past season. So you look at what they're able to do. So for every team that you can name that, yeah, Clemson does it the right way. They do it out of high school. You can name a Texas Tech to say, hey, we got more portal players than we normally have, but hell, we're doing a damn good job at this, right? We really are. So one of the downsides of high school recruiting is the fact that patience isn't what it used to be. That's one of the downsides, and that's one of the risks you take when recruiting out of high school. It's not all peachy with high school. It's not. You're looking at players who have always been a guy. You're looking at players who aren't patient. So while as programs we want immediate investments on our returns from your program, they want immediate investments from their returns. And sometimes they're delusional. Sometimes these kids are delusional. Some of these kids who are, great, could be, ESPNU, top 300, you know what I'm saying? They can be a guy, right? But then they'll go to a school whose quarterback room is already loaded, but they'll go there because they believe that, hey, they may get some bad information. They're like, hey, I can be the guy here too. And then you end up seeing them in a portal. So the bad side of that is the fact that when you recruit these players out of high school now, the recruiting doesn't just stop after you get them. Oh, you signed your national letter of intent. Oh, you here, buddy. You here. And if you think you're going anywhere, congratulations, buddy. You didn't play it yourself because you got to sit out a year if you want to go somewhere. That's in their old rules. And in the new way, in the new era, high school recruiting, it's a struggle sometimes because you got to continue to recruit these players. Like, think about how you felt, right? Back in 2023, was it? Yeah, it was 2023. And it was announced that Deion was going to Colorado. He had already flipped Travis to go to Jackson State the year before. And then he was able to get Kamani McLean. And you like, hold the hell up. Like, Deion is cooking. He flipped Kamani McLean. And the environment that Kamani McLean was in at the time, I think he's changed now. But at the time, like, he was just great because he was great. He ain't really had to put work in to be great. He was just elite. He was just, it's God-given talent. Like, even the snaps we seen him play in Colorado during the season, like, he made a pick, bro, and he wasn't even getting a bunch of reps in practice. Like, just God-given talent. But this is where I say high school recruiting can be scary because, you know, if you don't get that immediate return on your investment and a player feels like they don't get their immediate return on their investment by signing to your team, then they can end up leaving. That's the danger with that. A lot of times with transfer portal players, and there are always anomalies. I keep saying it. There's always outliers. There's always anomalies because then we got the Caden Proctor situation, right? Transfer from Tuscaloosa after Alabama loses to Michigan and Nick Saban announces his retirement, goes to Iowa. You know, this is in the early season transfer portal window. In the spring, he said, I'm going back to Tuscaloosa. Sorry, guys. Scary. It's scary. The portal can be scary, too, though. The portal can be extremely scary. We seen the kid from, was it Ball State? I think it was Ball State. Maybe it's another school. Go to Wisconsin and then leave, and I think he's in H-Town now. Don't remember the kid's name, but this is just how wild the transfer portal is in college football. So, yes, I am on the high school side of things in this discussion, but for the people who are saying, I'm kind of with the portal, I can get why you kind of with the portal. You kind of with the portal just because of you're dealing with more adults. Even though you're an adult, you know, most people, you know, the moment they graduate from high school, but I just think when you're dealing with a portal kid, a lot of these portal kids know what they want, and Cloud ain't one of them. A lot of them is just, I want to start, I want an opportunity to play. I want to, you know, better my career. I want to put out, you know what I'm saying, ball out this season and have a shot to make it to the NFL. That's what you're getting a lot of times in a portal kid. You really are. So, let's get into the portal pros and cons. So, the pros for the portal, immediate impact players. You fill gaps after injuries or coaching turnovers. We talked about that. You know, it's being year one. You got to do your thing. Yes, you're filling gaps after injuries or coaching turnovers, for sure. Older, more physically developed athletes is what you're getting in the portal. Agree with that 100%. You know what you're getting because there's proven film at the collegiate level. You can go on Huddle and watch all the film that you want to on a high school kid. And yes, there are always outliers to everything. And some high school kids, you can see, you look at this film and say, yeah, he's going to dominate at the collegiate level too. Some kids need a little bit of development before, you know, them being able to kill at that level. But you're getting somebody that's proven, somebody that has done it at this level. That's why, you know, when I was talking about Colorado Buffaloes, I was talking about their offensive line. I was talking about how they were all senior transfers or grad transfers, and they all had high-level FBS playing experience. So that should bode well for them if they can, you know, to be able to buy into the system. And, you know, Kaden Salter is where he is. But these are what are you getting with the pros of the portal. Immediate impact players. You're filling gaps after injuries or coaching turnover. Older, more physically developed athletes. You know what you're getting because you have proven film at this level. That matters. Those are the pros. The cons. Culture killers if mismanaged. Culture vultures for sure. Short-term mindset. You're not thinking long-term. College football, you know, is short anyway. You know, it really is. Like you're looking at, you know, 4 or 5 seasons for most kids, 3 or 4 for a lot of kids too, especially, you know, if they're elite, is not a lot of time. So that's why somebody like a Dabo Swinney says, hey, let me have these kids for 4 or 5 years and watch what happens. Watch how we develop them. Watch how they have that Clemson buy-in. Pretty good. And then player loyalty becomes transactional for sure. That's what we see a lot of times with the portal. And that's why you see a kid enter the early window portal and then again enter the late window portal because loyalty becomes transactional. There you go. So let's get into the high school recruiting pros and cons. Foundation of elite programs. You look at Georgia, you look at the pipelines they built. You look at Alabama, especially when Saban was there, you look at the pipeline they built. You look at this Clemson roster pipeline that has been built. You look at Penn State pipelines that have been built. You look at Texas pipelines that have been built. That's what you're getting. You're getting the foundation of elite programs or kids that are come out of high school and you've developed them. You've taken them under their wing. You know that, hey, this isn't day trading. This isn't swing trading. We're going to hold this stock for a long time. That's what you're doing when you're recruiting out of high school. You got to continue to recruit them if they get unhappy. But hopefully you have buy-in from the parents, buy-in, from the student athlete, and then they understand what you're trying to do with them, and they have kind of like a roadmap for success. I think that's critically important. I think it's very important. Player development, draft capital, and recruiting momentum. You're looking for long-term system fits because we're playing a sport that has 100% injury, right? It's 100% injury in football. So you want to have depth. It's important to have depth. It's important to have really great quarterback rooms. Yes, it's important to have a guy out there, but hell, I know Steve Sarkisian was grateful for Archman in these last couple of years, and Malik Murphy as well. He was there because Quinn Ewers had missed a lot of time, right? So we're looking for long-term fits, and then you're building continuity across locker rooms. Yo, my locker, my roommate, my entire, 3 or 4 years at Clemson was this guy. Man, my locker was next to this guy. You know what I'm saying? When you're explaining how you met people and stuff like that, you build true bonds with recruiting out of high school, especially if you get that long-term buy-in and they're down there in the Clemson, South Carolina for 3 or 4 years. High school via the portal, man. The cons there are cons. Like I was stating earlier, there are cons recruiting out of high school. Long-term development timelines, they're just longer. Misses, you can't miss. You can see a guy and a guy can be great and just don't fit your scheme. But because you don't have that proven film like you do with the transfer portal, you missed it. It's all good. It's harder to evaluate players. 17-year-olds in today's game want immediate playing time or they bounce. We mentioned a myriad of players who did that earlier. You can recruit a 5-star freshman, but if he's not playing by week 4, might be developing him for somebody else. That's real. That's facts. That's 100% facts, man. If you look at the teams who are going to be the teams heading into this season, they've been able to recruit out of high school. Down in Gainesville, Billy Napier has recruited his butt off out of high school. He really has. Kalen DeBoer and Nick Saban, because this isn't truly all the Kalen DeBoer guys. They've been able to recruit their butts off. Dabo Swinney has been able to recruit his butt off. James Franklin been able to recruit his butt off. Ryan Day been able to recruit his butt off. You look at the teams who are the real contenders, they've been able to recruit out of high school. They have been. They also been able to get their pieces in the portal, but they've really been able to recruit well out of high school. It is what it is. I think that we could put this to rest with what I'm about to say here. Recruiting out of high school is far superior than recruiting via the transfer portal for long-term investment. If you're really trying to build culture, you want to recruit out of high school because you can build that culture because, somebody coming in wide-eyed as a true freshman, as an early enrollee, trying to really figure out, hell, what is it like here? What do I need to do? But you got guys that have been here 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. The alumni come back because I swear, you go to a Clemson spring game, you're going to see a lot of alumni there. Same thing when you go to an Ohio State game too. You'll see a lot of the alumni there. So you see this culture that is built and you see like what this excellence is supposed to look like. Like that's what you get. You get a guy, early enrollee, not sure what I'm doing here. Boom. Hey, I'm going to take you under my wing. I'm going to show you how we do things around here. This is the Clemson way. Right? But sometimes you do just need to go get a stud out of the portal. It's true. Like Oregon, look at what they was able to do this year by going to go get Dylan Gabriel out of the portal this past season. 13-0 in the regular season conference championship didn't result in a championship, but hell, it worked. Look at what Notre Dame was able to do by going to go get a Riley Leonard from Duke out of their transfer portal. Made it all the way to the national championship. It worked. Look at what Ohio State was able to do. Was able to go get a guy out of portal from the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, who knew that he wasn't starting over Avery Johnson, got him out of the portal, brung him up to Columbus. Hey, let's go win us a national championship. It's important that you use the portal when applicable. Now, I know Dabo Swinney don't like touching the portal. And I think now he do it just to make some people happy. Hey, bro, listen, I don't like the portal. But if you all gonna make me go get the portal, I'm gonna go get a kicker, goddammit. I'm gonna go get a safety that ain't gonna sniff the field this year, but to make you happy, I'm gonna go do it. That's how I feel like Dabo Swinney uses it. But when used effectively, it can be effective. I truly believe that. See Mike Norvell do it. Keon Coleman is the example that I love. Clemson could have really used a wide receiver that year. Did they? Go get one. No, they didn't. So when effective, this thing can be really good. Well, Oklahoma did this year. Things didn't work out with Jackson Arnold. It is what it is. I don't think it was more of a Jackson Arnold problem than it was a Seth Luttrell problem and the pieces that they had offensively, because their offense was abysmal last year. Oklahoma said, well, we're going to go get John Mateer, because his stats last year was astronomical. I mean, hell. Threw a bunch of touchdowns, rushed for 15 touchdowns, and had like 800 yards rushing. Yeah, let's bring him down to Norman. But also tell his offensive coordinator, too, Ben Arbuckle, that's his name. Yeah, he need to come down here, too. So it's important that you be able to do both. And guess what else Oklahoma did? They went and got a running back, bro. They went and got Jay Knott from Cal, who had a down year last year. 2, you need to recruit out of high school. You 100% need to recruit out of high school. Like I said, I'm comfortable with that 90% threshold. Or that 92, like 92 and 8 seems like a well-rounded number for me as it pertains to this segment. It really does. So we're going to pay some bills. Shout out to our sponsor, BetUS, where you can save 125% on your first deposit. They'll match it for you using that code CFB Nation, man. So we'll go to this ad break. We'll be right back. Shout out to everybody who's in the building right now. You are appreciated. Know that. Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS, get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7, but there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money.
Welcome back. It's Thursday, May 22nd, man. We about to get into this Around the Nation segment. Really been enjoying these. Let me know in the comment section if you go and put it on a video. Wait till it's done or on Twitter. If you post it under my most recent post or a pin post like, hey, I want you to talk about this team, let me know who to talk about for Around the Nation teams next week. I do 4 shows, so I talk about 4 different teams. Don't matter who you got. Just put it on there and we'll talk about them. Today we're talking about Penn State. Can the Nittany Lions win the Big Ten? They can win the Big Ten, and I tell you, they can win a national championship. James Franklin, we want you. Come on down. Come on down, James Franklin. Come on down, man. It's a really good team. So, the 2024 season for the Nittany Lions is one in which many people would deem a successful season. I mean, they were 13-3, competed in a damn good Big Ten championship versus Oregon last year, a game that they lost, but it ended up being in a shootout, which I didn't think. They won 2 college football playoff games versus SMU in the opening round of the playoffs and Boise State in the second round of the playoff, and then they did have a heartbreaking loss in the Orange Bowl versus Notre Dame. They had opportunities to win that game. I was so unhappy after watching that game because Penn State, after I saw the bracket, was 100% my pick to win the college football national championship last year. They just were. I just thought that their bracket was set up. I thought they were kind of striking it while the iron was hot at the right time. It just didn't happen. So, Penn State averaged 33 points per game last season, which was 28th in the nation. Not too shabby, probably better than a lot of you guys thought it was. Defensively, Penn State allowed 16.5 points per game, which was 8th in the nation. Damn good. Penn State entering this season have an SP Plus ranking of 3 and a return in production of 63%, which ranks 33rd nationally. We was just talking about high school via the portal. Yeah. This is what recruiting out of high school looks like. 100%. Andy Kotelnicki, one of my favorite offensive coordinators in all of college football. I think he has one of the better offenses in college football as well heading into this season. I want to challenge both James Franklin and Andy Kotelnicki. I thought there were times where they said, well, we almost had him. And I hate people who play like that, what we almost have them. I used to call it playing scared or playing not to win. Like that, what we almost had them. Excuse my French. Kids, cover your ears if you're watching. That shit needs to get thrown out of the window. That we almost had them bull is bull. It's a bunch of bull, as Bernie Mac would say. God bless the dead. There's no way that we almost had them. Are we going to play it safe? We up 10 versus Ohio State. Look, I mean, we here, right? Nah. That need to go out of the window, bro. James Franklin, Andy Kotelnicki, you both need to be more aggressive. Andy Kotelnicki and your play calling, be more aggressive. James Franklin, trust Andy Kotelnicki. Give them more opportunities on fourth and 1 or 4th and short. This is the sport that we're in. But it takes people with bravado. It takes being macho. And it takes having some go-oners to be able to call plays and make play calls in this sport. It 100% do. Be more aggressive. You have to be. Had opportunities against Ohio State during the regular season. Lost. Lack of regression. Lost to Oregon. If you were more aggressive earlier that game, you probably would have had a chance. In the Notre Dame game, in the Orange Bowl, it's just a lot of missed opportunities, man. Drew Aller didn't play like he should have played that game. I remember the easy throw on the goal line. Nick Singleton, it would have been a touchdown, but it didn't happen because of an inaccurate throw. So, I think we need to be more aggressive, James Franklin. I think we need to be more aggressive, Andy Kotelnicki. It is what it is. Drew Aller is one of the best quarterbacks in all of America. He really is. Like, a lot of y'all can sit here and say he ain't, but he is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in all of America. And I got a take for it that's going to piss a lot of y'all off, but it's my take, and I don't give a damn. If he's given the opportunities, right? If Andy Kotelnicki and James Franklin say, hey, Drew Aller, we want you. We trust you. Here are the keys to the offense. You're going to make some plays this year. Yo, if he's have the ability and they really trust him, he has the ability to win the Heisman this year. This is how good this kid is. And I really like his offense, too. This kid has an opportunity to win the Heisman. But guess what? I know he had 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. I think the year before that, he was 26-2. Kid don't turn the ball over a lot. He did turn the ball over more this past season. He's accurate. I think 66% in college is a really good number. We want to a little bit up. 68, 69 is better, but I think 66 is a really good number. Drew Aller has potential to be quarterback 1 in the 2026 class. Give him the keys to let him lead. Now, some of y'all ain't going to agree with that. Y'all say bugging. Kate Klubnik, or Garrett Nussmeier, or Archie Manning. I'm telling you, Drew Aller has the potential to be QB1 in the 2026 class. Yeah, I said it. Cried my 2 tears in a bucket. If you know the rest, you can say the rest. I can't say it over here. We got kids watching, man. But yeah, he could be quarterback 1 of the 2026 class. Give him the keys and let him lead. Best running back room in the nation resides in Happy Valley. That's what many people think. And though I kind of agree with it, I think that Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price they sitting at the same table. They damn sure sitting at the same table. I think it's 1A and 1B. Some of y'all probably say 2. I think I like Love more than all of the other running backs. I know that Nick Singleton gets a lot of the hype, but I like Kaytron Allen just a little bit more, if we're being honest. But I think they're right there with him. Both Allen and Singleton had over 1,000 yards last year. Both dynamic with the football in their hands. And like I said, while Singleton gets a lot of that hype because he got that pop and he could take that thing, he can go the distance with it. I like Kaytron Allen. I love his consistency, man. You know what you're going to get out of this kid, man. This kid is hella consistent. I like that a lot. So, one of the best running back rooms in the nation. Truly is. But I think the key here is Drew Aller didn't forego his senior season and enter the 2025 NFL draft. Nick Singleton didn't forego his senior season and enter the 2025 NFL draft. Kaytron Allen didn't forego his senior season and enter the 2025 NFL draft. They are returning some guys. So when you look at these top 25 lists, you wonder why people have, oh no, y'all trust James Franklin? No, we trust this roster. We 100% trust this roster. And I know I'm guilty of it too. So anybody who has this belief, I get it, because I do get it. I would be hypocritical if I didn't say, as much as I believe in Garrett Nussmeier and his ability to win the Heisman this year, what scares me is Brian Kelly. 100%. So I know y'all can look, if we strip the uniforms off, these blue and white, these plain Jane jerseys, as a lot of people would say, you strip the jerseys, right? And you take their team, the same team, put them in Athens with Kirby Smart. You put this same team in Athens with Kirby Smart, with a proven coach, a guy we believe in. You all would be sitting here saying, and you're a liar if you would tell me different. If you look at the overall construction of the roster, that this is the best team in college football. If this team had black, red, and white on, and they were in Athens, you 100% will be saying it, and you're a damn liar if you say if you disagree with that. Because a lot of y'all problem with Penn State is James Franklin, and I get it. But if you strip the colors of the jerseys, you strip the uniforms, you strip the coaches, even though I think they have the best coordinator tandem in all of college football with Jim Knowles and Andy Kotelnicki. You put this team in Athens, you say 100% best team in college football. You do the same thing. You can take the team out of Athens. We're still talking about Penn State, by the way. Stay catch up. Stay with me. Move this team to Eugene, right? And I say this team was, had Oregon Duck jerseys on. You would 100% say, oh, this is the best team in college football. You 100% say it. Do the same thing, same principle, same team. Remove the blue, white jerseys. They don't got to be in Eugene. Let's say they are, in Columbus. You will look at the construction of this roster and 100% say, this is the best team in all of college football. But what gives you hesitancy is the head coach. And like I say, I get it. Because I'm the same way with LSU and Brian Kelly. I do get it. Trust me, I get it. I understand it. I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying when you look at this roster, this is one of the best rosters in college football. But we are afraid to say that because of where they're at. We're afraid to say it because of that. And it's okay. It's okay. So, mention the wide receiver room to a Nittany Lion fan, and many of them will begin to get upset due to their lack of production since the days of Parker Washington and Jahan Dotson. Shout out to both of them. I think they're both still in the league. But Syracuse still transferred Trevor Pena, and I think we're starting to have difference of opinion, and I love this with CFB Nation. We don't all believe the same things. Like, if you've seen enough Overreaction Mondays, my boy Nino, he can debate with the best of them. We had some heated debates. Him and Moon have had some heated debates. We're passionate about this. You've seen Dino and Nino have heated debates. My favorite is when Boomer and Nino are having a debate, and I'm telling you, it's must-see TV. We don't all believe the same thing, and Trevor Pena is kind of one of those buzzwords when we're talking about this Penn State team and we're looking at the roster construction. Like, some people believe in CFB Nation that he was a product of his environment. Cal McCord made him look good. So we're going to see. And we have the other opinion, like, nah, we think this dude going to be all right. And I think he'll be all right because I like the wide receiver room. Kyron Hudson from USC balled out. I got to see USC in person last year versus Maryland. He was one of the people that stood out. So I really like this move by Penn State. I like that they got active in the portal with wide receivers. Their starting wide receiver core will all be portal guys. And yes, I know we just had the high school versus portal talk, but we're looking at this team. We're looking at, okay, we just lost one hell of a tight end in Warren. Teams are going to load the box against us, right? They're like, defensively, that's what teams are going to do against Penn State. They're going to say, Drew Allen, you cool and all, but we don't believe in you, playboy. Yeah, you got Nick Singleton behind you. You got Katron Allen behind you. We watching them, bro. You beat us passing. That's cool. They going to load the box against you. I'm telling them what they going to do. Andy Kotelnicki, they going to load the box. Drew Allen, they going to load the box, man. Get homie the keys so they can do their thing. This wide receiver core, I think, is very underrated. Hudson is very good. And then the thing that I think a lot of people miss is that they got Devontae Ross from Troy. He put up numbers last year at Troy. He really did. So, this could probably be the best wide receiver room that Drew Allen has had, and that's saying something. Offensive line. I like this offensive line. I like this offensive line as much as I like Florida's offensive lines. I think they got one of the best offensive lines in the country, if not the best. But this offensive line, they've played a lot. I like to see when I'm looking at these depth charts and I'm looking at these rosters, I like to see offensive linemen who has that continuity, that has played together. And this offensive line does have experience. They got Drew Shelton at left tackle. They got Olav Vega Ione at left guard. He was, I think, second team All Big Ten last year. And Nick Dawkins at center. He started every game and only allowed 2 sacks. That's pretty impressive. Right guard, Cooper Cousin, ample playing time last season. And Nolan Rucci, by the way, of Wisconsin, but he came from Wisconsin last year. He started 6 games last season. So we got continuity on the line. I think Drew Allen is a pretty quick decision maker. I like Allen. It's like Allen is hated. I remember seeing a graphic, and the graphic was Drew Allen. I forgot who the other quarterback was, but it was all these people who hated Drew Allen, and everybody loved the other quarterback. And it was just like, damn, bro, Drew Allen can't get no love out here. What Snoop say, y'all ain't got no love for the West Coast? Hey, man, that's how they feel about you Islanders sometimes, man, if we being honest. We're going to take a quick look at this defense. This defense is loaded. This defense is going to be damn good. Jim Knowles is coaching this defense, so I believe in them 100%, mainly because of that. So let's take a look at this defense. Really solid defense, man. I love when I look at a team's depth chart and you see that all of these players were here, last year. May not have started last year, but they were here last year. So, Dennis Sutton gets a lot of the hype. He is getting major drive. It wouldn't surprise me if he went early in the first round next year. That's the type of hype that he's getting. And so he's at left defensive tackle. They got Zane DeVrant. They got Caleb Artis. They also got some depth on the D-line. They got Alonzo Ford on the D-line at the defensive tackle position. Max Granville on the D-line as well. Weak side linebackers, Tony Rojas. They got Dominic DeLuca at middle linebacker. Redshirt senior. Left corner is Elliott Washington. Right corner is A.J. Harris. I like Harris a lot. And their safety pair, not too shabby with Saki Wheat and then Deshaun Lane. So and then nickelback is Zion Tracy. They're going to play defense. If you are going to be a part of Jim Knowles' system, you're going to play defense. We saw what Ohio State did. I think they were number 1 in the nation and points per game defensively last year. They're going to play defense. So let's look at their schedule. Let's see how we feeling about Penn State. In the comment section, let me know what you think their record going to be this upcoming season. I like this team a lot. There are some schematical things I need to see, and there's some semantic things I need to see. I want to see this early on. I want to see them be more aggressive. Like, if we lose a game, Nittany Lion faithful, we lose it because we ain't play scared. We didn't lose the game because, damn, we almost had it. That's not why we lost the game. We lost the game because, hey, the other team outplayed us, but we ain't play scared, though. And we'll face them tomorrow if they ready. We're playing right now. Like, that need to be their mentality all year. So, week 1 to play Nevada. Tune-up game there at home. Penn State by a lot. I mean an awful lot. Penn State by a lot, cuz. And I mean that. Week 2, home again versus FIU. I think FIU is truly building something, but Penn State by a lot. And I mean a lot. September 13 versus Villanova. Penn State by a lot. And I mean a lot. They 3-0 off the break. September 27th, we get that measuring stick game. They get an opportunity to play Oregon and beat Oregon after that conference championship game. I think these are the type of games that's in Happy Valley. I'm hoping this is one of the contestants for the whiteout game. I really do. It's going to be a really good test. We know what Dan Lanning does. Dan Lanning teams win. He's been able to build like the SEC out west type of thing in Oregon. This is a whiteout game. Could we see Dante Moore go into Happy Valley and get a win? I think not. Give me Penn State. And Penn State by a lot. I ain't going to say it loud, but if you heard it, you heard it. You feel me? Yeah, give me Penn State. 4-0 at UCLA. This is a scary game in my opinion. Because I believe in what Tino Sinceri is going to do. I believe in what Nico is going to do. I'm telling y'all, all of y'all fans in Knoxville, I know y'all weren't happy with Nico's performance this past season. I know y'all weren't happy with the way he left. But I promise you, I believe in Tino Sinceri. If you seen Curtis work out of Indiana Cook last season, Tino Sinceri had a lot to do with that as the passing game coordinator at Indiana. Former quarterback. The great thing when you have a quarterback, a guy that's played the game at a high level like you have, you're able to pick his brain. He can understand where you're coming from. He knows what it's feel like. Tino Sinceri played at Pitt. So I think that relationship is going to be a budding relationship. I think it's going to be one of those really good relationships. Do not be surprised if UCLA is bowl eligible or they won like 7 games this year. They're my sneaky team in the Big Ten because I believe that much in Tino Sinceri and I believe that much in Nico. Yeah, I'm going to leave him. I really do. Sneaky game. That's a really sneaky game. That's one of those sneaky games. Remember when USC hopped up on Penn State early last year and then Penn State had to come back? That game is giving me those type of vibes 100%. But still, Penn State 5-0. First Northwestern, Penn State 6-0. At Iowa is the scariest game on the schedule. And a lot of y'all going to look at me like I'm crazy, but that's the scariest game on the schedule. When you think about a team that can match their intensity from a physicality perspective, Oregon can do it, yes. Ohio State can do it, yes. But this game right here is the game that scares me most looking at this game because, oh man, we done beat Oregon. You know, we done beat UCLA, beat Northwestern. What's that, 6-0, right? Nevada 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. We 6-0, right? And next week we know who we got to face. Jim know who we got to face because we got to go back to Columbus and we got to find a way to come out of there with a win. A team that at home in Happy Valley last season, we had an opportunity to beat them, but we ain't seal a deal. Why? We ain't seal a deal, dog. Man, we ain't seal a deal because we was playing scared, bro. We almost had them. That's James Franklin mantra. We almost had him. James Franklin is a damn good coach. I ain't taking a personal shot at you. I ain't calling you a fraud, buddy. But I also ain't cuz that was in the stands. I'm not calling you a fraud, but I'm not cuz that was in the stands. I'm saying that right now. What I'm saying is that we almost had a mantra. That gotta go, brother. That gotta go. That's why this Iowa game scares me. This Iowa game, I'm telling you, I look at this schedule, and everybody gonna look at this schedule. They're gonna look at Oregon, they're gonna look at Ohio State. I look at Iowa. Kirk Ferentz teams come ready to play, and they're going to bring that physicality, and they win a lot of ball games, and he's been doing this for over a decade. They win an awful lot of ball. This game scares me. If I see a loss on the schedule, it's this at Iowa game. If I see one. I'm not sure where I'm at with it, and that's why I tried not to look at the schedule before this segment, because I was telling Moon on the phone earlier, shout out to my boy CFB Moon, I was telling him earlier, I want this to be so authentic. I want when they seeing it the way I'm seeing it. They looking at the schedule and I'm looking at the schedule. And they be like, man, dog, you know what? I hear you, bro. I see where you at mentally. That Ohio State game is going to get so much news, notoriety. Jim Knowles returns to Columbus. Go to Iowa, you lay an egg, they're going to beat you. That's all I got to say. This game scares me more than any other game on their schedule. I'm going to come back to this game because I don't know where I'm at. At Ohio State, Penn State go in there. They play bully ball. They play aggressive, and they beat Ohio State. I'm confident in that. Home versus Indiana, they beat Indiana. I like what they're trying to build out of East Lansing, but they beat Michigan State. At Nebraska, be tough atmosphere. Lincoln's going to sell out every week no matter how good that team is. They'll win that one. At Rutgers, they'll win that one. We got to come back to this Iowa game. Where y'all at, man? Are they going to beat this Iowa team, or will this be the one loss that they have? Will they go undefeated in the regular season like Oregon did, or will this be the one loss? I'm going to go out here on a win. While I think that Penn State has the best constructed overall roster in college football, them and Clemson, I'll say equally. The reason I had them ahead of Clemson ahead of them was because I believe in Dabo Swinney, because he showed the ability to do it on a big stage. James Franklin have to a certain degree. This at Iowa game is the game that they lose. It's the game that they lose, man. I promise you, young. Y'all gonna look at this schedule and say Penn State should run the table. And if they do lose, they may have 2 losses. Y'all gonna say Oregon and y'all gonna say Ohio State. I think they beat Ohio State. I think they beat Oregon. That Oregon game might be a whiteout game. And if you think Dante Moore, and I believe he's got uber talent, but he doesn't have a lot of, playing time. If y'all think he's gonna march to the Happy Valley and get a win, you need to bet right now. Make that bet right now. Build your parlay right now. But for me, nah, they beat Oregon. The at UCLA game scares me, but this at Iowa game at Kinnick Stadium, that physicality, every year like you have a game, like remember weirdly last year, like Wisconsin gave Oregon that scare. Y'all remember jump around, and typically you just see Wisconsin players going crazy, but like Oregon players were going crazy doing jump around, and I feel like that just gave them like what they needed to get past that. And to be able to seal the deal. That at Iowa game scares me because of a couple weeks before it. I think this is around the time where people are really buying into that Penn State hype. Everybody thinking about Ohio State game. Here goes Kirk Ferentz. Here he goes. Yes. So I didn't know if I was going to have them 13-0 because I knew I would probably have them beating Oregon and Ohio State. I'm sorry, 12-0 plus the conference championship. I do got them winning the conference. In the conference championship, I do believe Penn State will do that, but I do think that their one loss will be at Iowa State, at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, and I think you're gonna see that team just come out ready to play, and Penn State is gonna be just looking past them, getting ready for Ohio State week, and that's gonna be a mistake. So I got Penn State out of regular season 11-1, one of the best constructed teams in all of America. Like I said earlier in the opening, you put them in Eugene, you saying it's the best team in college football. You put them in Athens, you're saying this is the best team in college football. You put them in Tuscaloosa, you're saying this is the best team in college football. Or one of the best. But because of where we're at with James Franklin, I feel like Ryan Day got a huge monkey off of his back this season with winning a national championship, because some of the Columbus faithful won't tell you. A lot of them are still salty about that Michigan loss, even after winning the national championship. Like 4 years in a row, bro. Michigan's supposed to be little, bro. We lost to them 4 years in a row. But winning a national championship truly shuts people the hell up, especially people like me who won't stop talking. They shut you the hell up. Penn State go out here and win a national championship this year. I'll stop. I'll stop saying, we almost had it. I really will. So this is the Penn State Outlook. Let me know in the comment section who y'all think I should talk about next week. Give me those 4 teams that y'all want to see me do a deep dive with. You know how we do it. We look at each, position. We look at, where your SP plus is, where your return production is. We look at your schedule, and then I truly try to do an outlook for it. It's been a very fun episode, man. Like I said, Thursdays are depressing because it's typically the last day that I record for the week, and then I get ready for my weekend, which is at work. But this has been a really fun week. We've broke a lot of records this week. We've had more people watch the show this week than we have any other week, so I do appreciate that. It makes me see that this is getting into the right hands. It is getting to those 1%ers, because the people who are watching college football content now are the 1%ers. It's not just the people who are making the content, it's the people watching content. It's the people who love this sport. We are the 1%ers. We all are the 1%ers. And that's what we need to start calling ourselves. We're the 1%ers. Y'all will get a surprise episode tomorrow. I kind of teased it earlier. It might be at 9. Won't be a long episode. Won't be an hour episode. I'm just going to break down the position group. That's all I'm going to do. But like I said, I want to give y'all a 5th episode this week. I truly appreciate y'all. I really do. Shout out to Gang, CFB Nation, man. I'm nobody without them. Media days is coming up. I'm excited about them. Can't wait to see the squad down there. But as I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, it'll probably be tomorrow. You all take care. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ on the
Defensive minds. They have to be better on that side of the ball.